stop judging women with children. We are not out here looking for men to provide for our kids. We're looking for companionship. And if companionship turns into love, then you're automatically going to start loving our children. Don't look at children as a burden, because when you're dealing with a real woman, she's only going to bring prosperity and value to your life. She's never going to drain you. If that woman is draining you and wants you to do this and do that for her kids, she's not the woman for you. But when she steps into your life and she's bringing wealth, prosperity, and nurturing, that's the woman for you. No matter if she got 4 kids or 40. You got to find the right woman with kids. Don't judge a woman by the number of children she has.
What?
It's time for Black men in America to stop allowing America, white America and Black women, shame you into believing that even though you don't have children, you should be with this woman who got 6 kids by 8 different guys. No. If you don't have any children, the woman you meet should not have any children. And if every woman you meet's got kids, then it's time to get the passport. Yeah, you gotta go. You gotta find a woman who doesn't have kids.
I am the punishment of God. And if you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to an all-new episode of Crushing Christian Views. We haven't seen you in a month of Sundays. I think it's been a couple months, right? So, month and a half. You know, things happen, but we're not going to stop giving you the word. Today, we're going to talk about simping, simps. For a long time, I was a simp, a super simp. Tell you a quick story. So, in my first marriage, this is embarrassing, but in my first marriage, I remember having a back and forth with the woman I was married to, and she pulled a gun out on me. Now, of course, there's going to be an all-American Black woman out there like, what did you do to her? I didn't have to do anything to her, which, from recollection, I remember we were about as far away as I am to you right now, see. What would you say? That's about 12 feet, maybe 10, 12 feet. This woman pulled a gun out on me. And here go the simp part. I forgave her. All was forgiven, right? She pulled a gun on me, all was forgiven. Several years later, I remember having some back and forth with this woman and leaving the house, going over to my sister's house, and my sister was like, y'all had an argument, just go back, let's go back and love on her and make it up to her, whatever. Okay, whatever. I get back to the house and I've only been gone like a couple hours. My key won't fit in the door. So I don't know if in those 2 hours she had all the locks changed, or if her brother showed her how to jam the locks or not. So I couldn't get in the side door or the front door. So I went around to the back door, and I'm trying to put my key in the back door. And although the shade is down, I can see through the corner of the door, and off the reflection of the window, the reflection of the mirror on the bed, I could see she had a gun in her hand. This is the second time she pulled a gun on me. And I'm sitting there like, why are you pulling a gun? What is going on with you? And she's cussing me out. I can't even talk to her. This is the modern, all-American, independent Black woman, folks. They'll pull a gun on you in a minute. You don't have to be threatening them. I never threatened this woman. I just said, I'm gonna do this, do that to you. I didn't jump in her face. But the point I'm making is, the first time she did it, I should have been done with her. But I wasn't. I was a simp. And in America, a Black man being a simp can get you killed. And we're going to go into that right now. We're going to prove that our great forefather, Adam, was a simp. Our great forefather, King Solomon, was a simp. Our great forefather, who else we got on there? Samson was a simp for Delilah. But we're going to go into Adam first. So we'll go to the book of Genesis. What chapter is that?
Chapter 3.
All right, we'll go into the book of Genesis chapter 3, and we're going to let Derek read that for us.
All right. This is Genesis chapter 3, verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. This is Genesis chapter 3, verse 3. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
So, based on what we just read, we see that Eve already know the laws of God. She just gave, matter of fact, read that again.
All right, this is Genesis chapter 3, verse 3. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. This is Eve speaking. She already knows she's not supposed to partake in that tree. Go ahead, Derek. All right, this is Genesis chapter 3, verse 4. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. And then this is Genesis chapter 3, verse 5. For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
Stop right there. That's the part that got Eve. The serpent said to her, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Eve wanted to be a god. It wasn't satisfactory that her husband, Adam, is a god, and that by her being Adam's wife, she will also partake in all the goodness that is bestowed on Adam by God, by the Most High God. She wants to be a god. Go ahead, Derek.
All right, this is Genesis chapter 3, verse 12. And the man said, the woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat.
Go ahead.
All right, this is Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception.
So this is where why women have childbirth pains, because it was a punishment from God for disobeying the laws of God. Go ahead.
In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So
the husband originally is supposed to rule over the wife anyway. Okay, go ahead.
This is Genesis chapter 3, verse 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life.
So cursed is the ground for Adam. So Adam is going to have to work hard all his life because he agreed with his wife on something he wasn't supposed to do and she wasn't supposed to do. Go ahead.
All right. It's Genesis chapter 3, verse 19. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground, for out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. So
Adam died for being a simp, and every man born after Adam has died. We're gonna die. Unless Christ come back while we're alive. If Christ doesn't come back while we're alive, we're gonna die too. All men die because Adam listened to his wife, who listened to the serpent, who fooled her and told her she could be a god. Women are not gods, okay? Men are gods on the earth. The woman is a goddess, but we're not talking about goddesses. We're talking about gods, which is what Adam was. He was a god on earth until he listened to his wife, who listened to the serpent. My question is, how can a man have dominion over the entire planet, be given a wife, she learns that her husband has dominion over the entire planet, and she still goes with the serpent? Does that make sense? Do we have any more verses on this one?
Nope.
That was it. All right. So Adam died because he decided that he was going to go ahead and just do what his wife said. He was a simp. He simped out for Eve. All right, let's go look at
King Solomon.
King Solomon. Let's go look at King Solomon. That's First Kings?
Yep.
All right, let's go into that.
All right, this is 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites.
Right, so the, what was the first group?
Pharaoh.
No, the women that he loved.
Moabites.
So the Moabites.
Moabs.
Yeah. So the Moabites, a lot of Moors today think that they are Moabites, but the Moabites are today's Chinese. That's who the Moabites are. They're not Moors. The word Moor simply, I don't want to get all off into something different. Anyway, the Moors think they're Moabites, but the Moabites are the Chinese, and we can prove that in the Bible and all the books that were written in the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th centuries about the Moabites. Go ahead.
This is 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you. For surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto those in love. So
Solomon is warned that these other women would turn his heart from the Most High God to their gods. Of course, Moabites have their own gods. You also named the Ammonites. Today's Ammonites would be the Japanese. Moab and Ammon were sons of Lot and his two daughters. That's why today's Moabites and Ammonites, which are the Chinese and Japanese, that's why they have the kind of eyes that they have, because the children born to Lot was from his daughters, okay? The Edomites were also mentioned in that first verse. The Edomites, of course, are today's white people. Okay, all right, go ahead.
All right, this is 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart.
So his wives turned away his heart because he was a simp, right? His wives were more important to him than the Lord himself. His wives can't save him, only the Lord can save him. Go ahead, Derek.
All right, this is 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 4. For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father.
So King Solomon really dropped the ball after his father, King David, had passed away, because he married all these different nationalities of women, and they all have their own gods. But the Christian will have you believe that our God, the Most High God, loves everybody, and everybody is on his team. Everybody's not on the team of the Most High God. Everybody's on the team of their own gods. What else do we have?
That's it on that one.
So King Solomon, the women he married, turned his heart away from the Most High God to their gods, and that's where he failed. He was a simp. He was a special man because of the position God put him in, and he's our forefather, and we love King Solomon, but he simped out for all the women he married. Okay, the next one is
Samson.
So we're going to talk about Samson and Delilah and how he simped for Delilah. And this was one of those very obvious simps. I think Samson was probably the biggest simp out of all of them. Even though when Adam simped, he created death for himself and all the men born after him. There's something about Samson's simping which is different from there. So let's go into it.
All right. So this is Judges chapter 16, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then went Samson to Gaza and saw there an harlot and went in unto her.
So Samson saw a harlot, which is a and he went into her. Go ahead.
All right, this is Judges chapter 16, verse 2. And it was told the Gazites, saying, Samson is come hither. And they compassed him in, and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city, and were quiet all the night, saying, in the morning, when it is day, we shall kill him.
So they thought they were going to kill Samson, but I think as we read on, we'll find out that that didn't happen. All right, go ahead.
All right, this is Judges chapter 16, verse 4. And it came to pass afterward that he loved a woman in the valley of Sword, whose name was Delilah.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, this is Judges chapter 16, verse 5. And the lords of the Philistines came up unto her and said unto her, entice him, and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will give thee every one of us 1,100 pieces of silver.
So the Philistines are letting Delilah know that they're willing to pay to kill Samson. So let's see what else happens. Go ahead.
All right, so this is Judges chapter 16, verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
And Delilah said to Samson, tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict me.
So Delilah wants to know from Samson, where did he get his strength from? Go ahead.
All right, this is Judges chapter 16, verse 7. And Samson said unto her, if they bind me with 7 green withs that were never dried, then shall I be weak and be as another man.
So he's testing her. Samson is testing her. He just told her a lie to see if he actually binds himself, or if she binds him, what will happen after that? Go ahead.
This is Judges chapter 16, verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
Then the lords of the Philistines brought up to her 7 green withs which had not been dried, and she bound him with them.
Okay. So she bound Samson, her man, with these whiffs, these green whiffs.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what they are?
Yep.
Just to see what will happen. Let's see what happened. Go ahead.
All right, this is Judges chapter 16, verse 9. Now there were men lying in wait, abiding with her in the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
And she said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he brake the withs as a thread of tow is broken when it touches the fire. So his strength was not known.
So, Samson obviously lied to her about where he get his strength from, just to test her to see what she would do. Go ahead.
All right, this is Judges chapter 16, verse 10. And Delilah said unto Samson, behold, thou hast mocked me and told me lies. Now tell me, I pray thee, wherewith thou mightest be bound.
So she's telling Samson that he's telling lies while she's plotting to get him killed. Sounds like an American woman, doesn't it? Go ahead.
This is Judges chapter 16, verse 11. And he said unto her, if they bind me fast with new ropes that never were occupied, then shall I be weak and be as another man.
Mm-hmm. Verse 12.
All right, this is Judges chapter 16, verse 12. Delilah therefore took new ropes and bound him therewith, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And there were liars in wait abiding in the chamber, and he brake them from off his arms like a thread.
What's the next verse?
All right, this is Judges chapter 16, verse 13.
Okay.
And Delilah said unto Samson, hitherto thou hast mocked me, and told me lies. Tell me wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, if thou weavest the 7 locks of my head with the web.
So he's starting to get tired of her bugging him about where his strength come from. You're gonna find out in a minute that he was so tired of her bugging him about where his strength lies that he finally gave in to her, like a simp would. Go ahead.
This is Judges chapter 16, verse 14. And she fastened it with the pin and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awakened out of his sleep and went away with the pin of the beam and with the web.
Mm-hmm.
This is Judges chapter 16, verse 15. And she said unto him, How canst thou say, I love thee, when thine heart is not with me? Thou hast mocked me these 3 times, and hast not told me wherein thy great strength lieth.
Doesn't that sound like the all-American woman and its manipulation? Watch this. And she said unto him, How canst thou say, I love thee? Don't women throw that in men's face? Oh, I thought you loved me. Oh, why don't you tell me this? Tell me this. I need to know this. I need to know that. I thought you loved me. This sounds like the all-American independent woman. And she said unto him, How canst thou say, I love thee, when thine heart is not with me? That's another thing they'll tell you, that you don't love them. Your heart is not with them. Thou hast mocked these 3 times, and hast not told me wherein thy great strength lieth. What's the next one, verse 16?
Yep.
Okay.
So this is Judges chapter 16, verse 16. And it came to pass, when she pressed him daily with her words.
When she pressed him daily with her words.
And urged him, so that his soul was vexed unto death.
His soul was vexed unto death. That's how much she bugged him. A lot of black men can relate to that today. Go ahead, read.
All right, this is Judges chapter 16, verse 17. That he told her all his heart, and said unto her, There hath not come a razor upon my head.
Uh-oh.
For I have been a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man.
And this is what Delilah was waiting for, so she could destroy him. She's got a hell of a man in her life, will do anything for her, and is the strongest man around, but she's trying to destroy him. Does that make sense? Go ahead.
All right. This is Judges chapter 16, verse 18. And when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent and called for the lords of the Philistines, saying, Come up this once, for he has showed me all his heart. Then the lords of the Philistines came up unto her and brought money in their hand.
Is that another verse, or that's it?
It's 3 more verses.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so this is Judges chapter 16, verse 19. And she made him sleep upon her knees, and she called for a man, and she caused him to shave off the 7 locks of his head.
There it is.
And she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him.
She began. Listen, brothers, you got to learn from this. She began to afflict him, even though he's the strongest man around. He's taking care of her. He loves her, right? But he didn't trust her. He had love for her, but he didn't trust her. And he had all the reason in the world not to trust her. She afflicts him after they shave his head bald and he loses his strength. So she begins to afflict him. Go ahead, Derek.
This is Judges chapter 16, verse 20. And she said, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep and said, I will go out as at other times before and shake myself. And he wished not that the Lord was departed from him.
So God left him. God pulled his strength from Samson because Samson was simping for Delilah. He was simping for her. Simping. All right, go ahead.
All right, and this is Judges chapter 16, verse 21. But the Philistines took him and put out his eyes.
And gouged out his eyes. Go ahead.
And brought him down to Gaza. And bound him with fetters of brass, and he did grind in the prison house.
Was that the last verse?
Yep.
So Samson's reward for trusting a harlot like Delilah is that he got his eyes gouged out and put in a prison. Now later in the story, of course, he begs God for his strength back one more time so that he can bring down the walls on himself and the Philistines, which is what happened at the end of this. So he basically killed himself. He took out the Philistines with him, but he killed himself all because he couldn't get away from a woman who was relentless at having to know where he got his strength from. She vexed him to death. She vexed him to death. Let this be a lesson to you brothers out there, especially you brothers that's getting your passports and getting the hell out of Babylon the Great and looking for more traditional wives in other parts of the world. God bless you. All right, what's next? Job?
Yep, Job.
Now we're going to go into Job. Job didn't simp, but there's a reason why we're going into Job. So we're going to Job chapter 2.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is Job chapter 2, verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil, and still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause.
Okay, next verse.
Yep, this is Job chapter 2, verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thy hand, but save his life.
So Satan had to get permission from the Most High God to afflict Job because Job is a perfect and upright man. And of course, this goes along with the argument that Jesus is not the only perfect man that walked on the earth. Job was a perfect and upright man as well. The Most High God will deem whoever he wants to be perfect. It's not just one man. It's whoever God deems to be perfect. And he deemed Job to be perfect. Go ahead.
All right, this is Job chapter 2, verse 7. So Satan went forth. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord, and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown.
Go ahead.
And this is Job chapter 2, verse 9. Then said his wife unto him.
Here's the point I was going to make. Go ahead, D. Then said his wife.
Then said his wife unto him, Doest thou still retain thy integrity? Curse God and die.
Curse God and die. This is what Job's wife said. Curse God and die. Job's wife. Next one.
This is Job chapter 2, verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh.
Job said to his wife, you speak like a fool, like these other foolish women. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll start over.
Yeah.
This is Job chapter 2, verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? And all this did not Job sin with his lips.
Job didn't give in to the simping. He didn't give in. He didn't curse God and die like Samson did. Well, Samson didn't curse God either, but Samson allowed himself to get put in a position where he ended up dying, killing himself, along with killing the Philistines. So simping has gone on throughout history with our forefathers, and it continues to go on today. Now, a lot of brothers under the age of 40, they're way smarter than brothers were just 20, 25 years ago. They're not putting up with y'all crap. They're not having babies with you because they know you can't wait to go to child support. So you have the fastest growing organization in America among black men, which are the Israelites. You have the second fastest growing organization in America by black men, which are passport bros. And then you have the third, they're the distant third, but they're the third growing fastest group of black men in America called the retention men, the retention boys. They go, some say boys, some say men. But these are men who have totally dropped out of having sex with the all-American woman, or if they have sex with the all-American woman, they're either wearing a condom or they're doing the pull-out thing. So, on that note, is there anything y'all want to add to the Simp Diaries?
Yes, it's ironic that you call this sermon the Simp Diaries because today is the 14th. Yesterday, March 13th, was the late great Kevin Samuel's birthday. So you send him a happy heavenly birthday.
Okay.
And Yeah. So what was I say about the simp?
Yeah, I mean, I see some famous brothers that they be simping and stuff, but
Yeah, they tried to label Russell Wilson with Sierra. They say he's a simp.
do you think that? You think he's a simp?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why I agree with that. Because it's time for men to stop going out with women and the woman is naked out in public. Well, I don't know why that's still a thing.
And, you know, Sierra, she had a baby with Future.
Mm-hmm.
Future had 3 children before her by 3 different women.
Mm.
He made Sierra baby mama number 4.
Mm.
This is why I say Russell Simp, because he didn't have any children.
Right.
And he married.
I didn't know that.
He married her and, you know, moved her into his home.
Mm-hmm.
And quite naturally she did. She gave him 2 children as well. And he's raising future sons as his home too.
Wow.
And it's like, you know, somebody, not even just on Russell Wilson's caliber, if you don't have any children, why would you go and be with somebody who clearly makes bad decisions?
I totally agree. It's time for black men in America to stop allowing America, white America and black women, shame you into believing that even though you don't have children, you should be with this woman who got 6 kids by 8 different guys. No, if you don't have any children, the woman you meet should not have any children. And if every woman you meet's got kids, then
it's time to get the passport.
yeah, you gotta go. You gotta find a woman who doesn't have kids. Now, if you have children,
Yes.
you meet a woman with children, that's different. That's a Brady Bunch thing. That's different. Brady Bunch is okay. If y'all can put it together, that's cool. But I'd be damned if I don't have any kids. I'm not gonna be with a woman who's got kids. That don't make sense.
Yeah, they say that that could be the woman God has blessed you with.
God ain't blessed no man with a woman that she's got kids and he don't have kids. That's a Christianity. God is not blessing that. The Bible, matter of fact, we're gonna go into that. Watch this. Let me find it real quick.
Yes. Myself, I've been told that because, you know, we further in our careers, and well, me speaking on myself in the film industry, and, you know, I recently graduated with a degree. I'm in a different tax bracket now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't have any children. And I've been told that I'm passing up on good women that do have children.
They're not good women. Watch this. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. I know you Christians hate the Apocrypha just like you hate the Old Testament. Ecclesiasticus chapter 26, verse 23. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord. And these men in this room, they fear the Lord. They're not looking to get no wicked woman. So if the woman feareth the Lord, she's not coming with kids already and a number of baby daddies. She's coming with no kids to be with men that don't have kids. It's that simple. Anything else? So, all you simps out there, because I was a simp, so I'm not getting on you and getting on our forefathers, Samson and Adam and King Solomon. I was a simp too. I was a simp. Matter of fact, the reason I'm awake today and into the Lord like I am, because I was a simp. That's why.
And I
was a super simp, by the way. When you got a woman pull a gun on you and you forgive her, you go back to her, you are a super simp. Go ahead.
I guess I am too, because my last relationship was a few years ago. But the woman I was with, she had a baby on me. And then I forgave her and stayed with her.
Yeah.
And I used to take her child to his grandmother's house and pick him up while his daddy was there. And then she ended up cheating on me again and had another baby.
I have a friend, this was about 20 years ago. Yeah, about 20 years ago. He was gonna marry this woman And this friend of mine, he knows a lot of people in the entertainment business. He was gonna marry this woman. He's at home one night here in Detroit. His boy calls him from Atlanta, from a bar. At, I don't know, it's 12:30 at night, something like that. My boy at home in Detroit, his boy called him from a bar in Atlanta, like, yo man, old girl is here at this bar right now, and she's got I can't remember who the person was, but it was a celebrity type, a sports figure. She was in the face of this sports figure, and so my man went, well, what's going on? Well, tell me what's going on. His boy told me, well, she's in his face and they're about to leave together. And that's how yeah, you already know how that went. You already know how that went. So my boy ended up finding out she left with this particular celebrity type, and so he broke it off with her. But he refused to be a simp, so he left her alone. I think the woman was beautiful. I think a lot of guys would have tried to, give her a chance to give all kinds of excuses so that he can be with her. But my friend was like, no, I'm done with her. Because, he's got things going on. He didn't have to stick around with her, so.
No, guy, regardless of what you got, do or don't have going on, you ain't got to put up with that.
You ain't got to put up with it.
Well, before we close out,
yeah,
I want to say to all our subscribers, we appreciate you for subscribing to the channel.
Mm-hmm.
There were questions that 2 subscribers asked in the comments that we will address on the next video.
Yes.
And there is a Cash App coming. We are working on a Cash App.
Yes.
So you will be able to Cash App Shake the Profit once it's all set up.
Yeah, and by the way, the questions that D is referring to, they were great questions that you guys asked, but because we have been off for so long, like a month and a half, that's why we haven't gotten back with you yet. But we are going to answer those questions in the very next video, so please keep watching. With that being said, stop simping. Get your like, comment, subscribe. Brothers, get your passports. You sisters that's out there that's been married and taking care of your man and making him happy, which is the reason why you're living good, keep doing the good work. All you harlots out there, go to hell. So, on the next one, we want to say shalom and peace.
I am the punishment of God. And if you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you.